What's up, y'all? This is Hussein Nasser from iGeometry. Yes, we are doing it finally. You guys can't believe how many of you asked me to start such series. This is like long overdue. Are we recording? Yes, we are. The JavaScript API series. So, since I started this channel in 2014, I've been mainly posting about arc objects. Obviously, it's all ArcGIS and the work of ArcGIS and the functionality of ArcGIS and esrijs and arc objects, and a lot of you guys have been emailing me, posting in the comments, like, tweeting at me, just, hey, what, Hussein, why you just start this already? We need this. We need a resource to teach us about this cool technology. So why ArcGIS JavaScript? Why JavaScript, right? Why this language? So just to get it started here, JavaScript is, if I'm not mistaken, someone can correct me there, it's the only language that can run on a browser and on a server and on a mobile device and on desktop and recently even on IoT devices like Internet of Things. So how cool is to have one language that does all that? One library. You build it, you know it, that's it, right? You don't have to learn multiple languages like we used to do. Like in the client server or the client side, we always use JavaScript, HTML. Sometimes, like, some of you made this mistake to move to Flash and Silverlight at the client side. Obviously, we all know that was a big mistake, and we know why. Steve Jobs, he came and he said, look, this is wrong, guys. I'm not gonna support this shit in my technology and the iPad, I believe. He said, no, I'm not gonna support that. I'm not gonna put stuff weird on the plugins running on my devices. So he stopped it, and then just the technology just died, right? But anyway, this is not our topic. Right, JavaScript just natively supported by all the browsers and all these devices, and it just makes sense, right? Why not ArcGIS started adopting it, right? And start doing cool things with it. And obviously our mapping stuff, we can do all this stuff with JavaScript, right? Nobody still did it, but it's possible. Nobody did the mapping software using JavaScript as a server side, but who knows? Maybe you, the listener, will be the first one who will develop that after watching a few episodes and reading a few books of JavaScript, right? That's what I'm doing, actually. I'm not an expert in JavaScript, right? I know a few things. I built some applications using JavaScript, but the technology is evolving, and you need to stay up to date. So I started reading a lot of books about advanced JavaScript. I'm gonna reference in the description the books I recommend reading. Really good book, and teach you about these new concepts of promises and all these kind of things. Anyway, this is not going to be an introduction to JavaScript, unfortunately. So you will be assumed that you know most of this stuff. I'm gonna talk about it, obviously, as we explain what is. I'm gonna use stuff as called a promise. I'm gonna explain what a promise is. I'm not an asshole. Obviously, I'm gonna explain what I'm doing. Obviously, you know me. Like, if you're watching this, uh, you might be a new subscriber as well. So yeah, if you know me, like, I take like hours and hours explaining things. That's why all my YouTube videos are very long, and the raw footage is there. I talk about everything, really. Some people just watch the first minute and quit. That's okay. That's not for you, right? The videos are not for you. If you're not committed to watch this, then it's okay. You can find your solution in a 1 minute or 2 minute video, but that's me. I like to talk a lot. I like to explain thoroughly about stuff. Some people like it, some people don't. So it's just I love to build what I like to provide contents that I love. That's why I continue providing it. All right, so I've been talking a lot about this. How about we start, guys? Yeah, want something? All right, so that's why we built it. Okay, that's why we started this series, the arcgis JavaScript API. So arcgis JavaScript API. Few introduction on that. There's the 3x. I don't know if there's a 2 and 1, but there's a 3x JavaScript API. That's the current model, and there's the new 4x model. I'm not gonna discuss anything regarding 3x. I have no idea whatsoever about that. I have built very few applications using that. I actually wrote my book using that. It's just very basic, right? And the 4x is what we will discuss here, the new technology. And to be specific, it's just 4.4. Okay, 4.4. That's the current release, but it will just be supported, obviously. All right. What do you need? What do someone need to build a basic map? Right? What do you need exactly to start getting started with this? I'm going to use my Mac book. You can use your Windows, but I have a VM here on Windows, but I like to work with Macs better. So it's just like the native device, right? You can always do that. You need an editor. So I'm going to use Sublime Text. Let's get started. I'm gonna use Sublime Text. You can download it. It's a free, and you can use it. It's really cool. It supports JavaScript and have cool high syntax highlighting and stuff. So it's really cool. What else? You will need a web server. All right, and I am going to use Node.js as the web server. You can use any web server you want. Just host that server, and you can put your HTML file. That's the result of our work, and then you will execute that. All right. So I have Node.js running here in my server. That's the time we have. We have left 11 minutes left. I'm trying to time myself as I talk. All right. So I have Node.js here. Running in this server, and I'm gonna start. You can download Node.js. I'm gonna put the description there. For simplicity, I have HTTP server package installed for Node.js, so you just literally type HTTP/server, and you start the server. It's really cool, and that's the default port that starts in, which is 8080. All right. If you're using Windows, you can use IIS. You just go to the C www.root initpub, I think, and then you put that HTML there, and then you visit the page, HTML, HTTP, and then that IP address or the machine name. I think by default, IIS runs on port 80, so it'll be good. All right. So how about we build some maps? Let's do that. All right. Okay. So first of all, I am going to save my page. I'm going to create a new file, and I'll save it as I am going to save it to the public folder, which is the default location. In this case, this is my initpub. If it's Windows, I'm going to call it ig.html. Okay, igeometry. All right. So let's get started and build some HTML here, and that's basically the starting kit of the HTML. And The cool thing about Sublime Text, if you type HTML and then you say tab, it will put the skeleton for you and all this stuff, right? So HTML, head, title, all right, then that's the title where it appears there, right? So for example, if I do a geometry here, head, you can see that, and save. There's a body. You can type stuff here, so it's like hello geometry. And how about we execute that now? So executing an HTML file requires something that I didn't mention. Obviously, most of you know that it's a browser. Obviously, a browser executes HTML files, and thus the JavaScript that comes with it. All right, so how about we execute that? So first of all, it's an HTTP protocol. It's just like auto continuing here. So what we do is we will type in the host name, which is localhost, or the machine name also works, and then the port on which the web server is running. That's 8080, and then we will do a slash and then the file name. So it looks like auto completing for me here. So, and then you and then that just executes it, right? And it shows you like hello iGeometry. You can do all this fancy stuff, right? So how about we do our first map, actual ArcGIS server work? Okay, so the first thing we're gonna do here is we're gonna all right, we will specify where the map will show up, right? And that will be a div element. Let's call it map view. Yeah. The map should have like a size you specify, which is you want to fill it up with the whole map, we want to fill it up with the whole screen, give it a different size. So I'm gonna give it like a style of 500 px, if sorry, a width of 500 px. That makes sense, yeah. And like let's say, yeah, why not 500 px, like a square map here, right? And then we're gonna close the div. So that's the beauty of Sublime Text, right? Just gives you like a nice layout, and that's where my map goes here. Go back to this, refresh, and we get map goes here. Obviously, doesn't make any sense, right? There's no map. So how do we get some map? All right. Oh, I didn't show you like iGeometry head. That's where the head goes, if you noticed, right? All right. So let's write some scripts. All right. The first thing we need to do is all the libraries, the JavaScript libraries for ArcGIS are located. The good thing is for free and online. You can do that. So we're gonna put a script URL here, which references https javascript.arcgis.com/4.4. I hope I didn't miss that URL. I hope that's it. Right? That will give you access to all the libraries in JavaScript. Believe it or not. All right? Yeah, I know. Once you have that, you can literally build a map. So, but before we do that, you have to explicitly import which libraries you want to use, and that is provided by the function. All right. So first of all, let's write up a script here. Right. That's our starter code. Right. The starter code in the body will be executed like when you first start the page. Let's do this, right? Alert. An alert is basically when you refresh, you will get an alert. That's when the first page executes, right? And that's the first execution block that we have. And we're gonna put code here. And the first function is require. And that function is actually it is available when you reference that script, right? And what you do is basically you say, okay, that function actually takes an array. And that's, by the way, that's how an array looks like in JavaScript, right? It takes an array of strings, and those strings are nothing but classes. So we're going to reference the map, right? And that function will basically the require function, when you execute it, you will give it a function. That's, I know that's very confusing, but hear me here. The first object here will go to the first parameter. All right, so that's what we're gonna do here. So that function, I don't know if it makes sense or not, but let me show you that. All right, that ends, that function call, which is require, that's the ending of it. Okay, try as much as possible to make this clear. All right, so we can do something like that, right? And that's the function call, right? So when you say esri map, that will basically import that class and pass it as a class or a function called map, and then you can use this to instantiate maps, right? So that's the first one. If you add another parameter, just add another array element, and the second one is called views map view, and then we're gonna say map view. So what are we doing here exactly? We're just setting up the foundation for the work, okay? And then let's start up our first map. We're going to declare a variable called map equal new map. Now I can do this because there is a map function, right? That I can basically create a new map function. You notice that I say function, not class, because JavaScript doesn't have really classes, just like try to mock classes, but everything is like a object and functions, right? So we're gonna create a map object here, right? A map object, and then we will pass something very interesting here, an object. So we know that an array looks like that, so that's an array with 2 elements. That's an object, basically. Curly brackets is an object, and that object will have a property called base map. Okay, I am going to create a map which base map is topo, which is the topographical default map, right? Once we do that, that map alone, the JavaScript 4.4 allows you to create different kind of maps, but those maps, they do not display by themselves. You have to put them in a map view or a scene view or different kind of views, right? So that's why they separated that concept from a map view. So literally you can have like 7 maps objects, right? And then they have different base maps and everything, and you have one map view, and you can swizzle different maps into this view, basically, right? So that's the idea of having different maps being swizzled into the parent map view, if that makes sense. So let's go ahead and create a map view here. All right, so that map view, again, I can do that because the class is being passed basically to the function. So let's go ahead and create a new map view. And interesting enough, map view also takes a parameter, and that parameter is another object, right? Obviously here, this object you can add so many other properties, and it's up to you what you can add. And we're going to explore the JavaScript API and learn as we go through this journey. All right, so map view. The first thing is, the most important thing is the container. Where the heck is this map gonna render? Where do you want to render? And most of you have guessed, I want to render it in this baby, right? So that just tells you that, oh, I want my map view to be rendered in this div element. Well, the second question is, what map do you want to render? And that is identified by the map object or map property. And then we pass the map, basically. So don't get confused. This is the actual property. This is just the variable. We can call it map1 if you guys don't want to get confused, right? You can call it map1, all right? And JavaScript is really optional when it comes to semicolons, so it's up to you. And let's see if we missed anything. I think that's all we need. We're gonna massage this code as we go. All right, so we saved map view. Did we miss anything? I have no idea. We're gonna find out. All right. So map view. Once you do that, it's just directly that just loads. All right. So let's go ahead and see if we can see a map. How about that? We can actually see a map and we can navigate, like all the basic stuff, right? Let's go to my country, Bahrain. Look at that. Look at that. All right, so most of you now will notice that, okay, what is this weird thing going on here? Like duck, and it's like, it doesn't look right. That map looks weird, right? It's like it's missing a style or something. Well, it is missing some styles. I didn't want to add anything, just random code without explaining it. So let's go ahead and make this a little prettier. And that is with the link element. I'm sorry. So we're gonna add a style sheet, and that style sheet is referenced by HTTPS. See if I remember that correctly. It's arcgis.com 404 esri css main.css. Again, I might be mistaken, so we might cheat and give the correct CSS here. And just importing that should just magically fix this thing. Oh, look at that! Look, so all this fancy fonts and fancy stuff here. You have these guys. That's what the CSS does, and obviously more stuff, right? How about that? How about that? Okay, all right. Let's do 5 more minutes of actual manipulation of stuff. All right. So I'm gonna actually put some timer here, so because I get carried away sometimes. Let's go ahead and start. All right. What do we want to do here? First of all, I want to move these variables, right, into a more general scope so that the developers' tools here in JavaScript, that's the perfect tool for debugging stuff. Really cool, right? I'm gonna move the let map1 here and let map view here, and then I'm gonna remove that. This will make these kind of like global variable. It's not, I hate to say global, but yeah, they are at the scope of the global window object. As long as the browser is running, those objects are alive. So if I did now map 1, I can actually see the object, and this is map 1. Map view, I can actually see map view object, and I can just ask it for parameters like center, right? Latitude, stuff like that, right? We can do so much cool stuff. All right, so if I didn't do that, if I did that, and then let's just go ahead and comment that out. If I did, whoa, chill, Chrome. If I do now map 1, I'm gonna get an error. Says map 1 is unidentified. That's all because of closures, which are the scopes of JavaScript, right? So because map 1 is defined in this function, right? And then map view is also defined in this function. That once that function is dead, JavaScript just deallocate those variables, so you no longer can access them, right? So let's go ahead and let's do something cool. I want to start in a specific scale or level of details, right? And that could be done with the zoom parameters. Let's go ahead and do this. Let's make this zoom. Still don't remember the number, so bear with me here. So let's do 12. All right, so it actually worked, right? So this actually started that with the zoom of 10. So if we do more, is it like further? All right, so I still don't know. Like 20 is better or what? Oh, looks like it's the more the number, the more the detail. So let's just say 5. Play with that. Oh, there. Okay. All right. So that's cool. 5. Let's say with 5. Why not? And now we will introduce a new property. So zoom. Control the zoom, and then let's see the variable which are called map view dot center. Look at those. The center variable is like gives you a point of latitude and longitude, these cool values of basically where is the current center of the map, right? So let's go to El Paso, for example, or Mexico, right? If you do longitude, that's minus 103. If you do latitude, it is 23. So let's go to Bahrain. If I go to Bahrain and I ask it, okay, what are your latitude? It changed. What's your longitude? It's always changed. So this is how you get the values you really want. Like I want to zoom in into, by default, when I start my map, I will always want to zoom into Bahrain, for example, right? Let's do that. I want a center of the map to be Bahrain. Okay, so these are the values of longitude. You copy that, and then here you add another comma and you say center, and then guess what? A center is just an array of 2 values. All right. Running out of time. All right, almost there. All right, so that's good. That's good. So we ran out of 5 minutes. So let's do that. And the longitude, the latitude is 26. Let's do that. Nope. All right, I think that's cool. So let's start with that. And then refresh. Look at that. We centered right into Bahrain. If we add more details, like give me a zoom of 10, that will center wherever that location was. All right, that's more details, obviously. Let's give it more. 15. Look at that. Ooh. That is so cool, guys. All right, we're going to stop here. And obviously, we'll take some more time and building this application. Now, we know what we're going to build, right, guys? This is a continuation of the phonetic application that we built with ArcObject, but we're going to convert it into a JavaScript application. right? So I'm going to reference it here, that phonetic application that we did with arcobject. I'm going to do all these towers and fancy stuff with JavaScript stuff. And we're going to do maybe a couple more episodes where we explore fancy stuff with JavaScript just to get our feet a little bit wet before we jump into the stuff, right? And we don't want to. We try it as much as possible. Don't jump the gun and learn things that we're not supposed to learn early. So, all right, guys. So that's it for me today. I hope you really enjoyed this. I'm gonna see you in the next one. Goodbye.